Tell us a little bit about what you saw and being able to relay that message to Cora when you watched Kimbrel pitch and kind of help out so he wasn't tipping his pitches.
So tipping pitches, we hear about it all the time.
People at home understand what tipping pitches is all about.
It's amazing.
And that's remarkable.
Alex.
Bobby.
How's it going?
We're here.
We are. I'm barely holding myself up here. Yesterday I got my flu shot and my COVID booster. And I got to tell you, historically speaking, I do not handle the flu shot well.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. From my understanding, I just get the flu for 3 days.
Right.
That's what happens. Tough. But I encourage everybody to go get their flu shot and their COVID booster because it helps protect everybody around you. And that's an important thing to do in the world.
Nice. I love a little PSA to start the pod. You know, you and John Legend out here advocating for Pfizer.
Many have said that I'm exactly like John Legend.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
We're just assholes who the people can't quit. More celebrity endorsements. That's what we needed. You know, We needed more John Legends in the world out there. Actually, what we needed apparently is more leftist pods, more lib pods.
Right.
Do you want to weigh in on that? Has the DNC contacted you?
Right. And said, you're our new Joe Rogan. Let's go.
I think sort of like you could do it, honestly.
Well, I mean, it's not that hard, right? It's just like you just have to be relatively incurious and just be like, wow, man, that's crazy. That's really interesting, man. I never really thought about it like that.
Do you relate to Joe Rogan in that the last thing you heard is the thing that you think?
Kind of, yes. Everything beyond that goes out of my brain.
Well, we didn't really plan it this way, but we have our favorite and I think best episode of each year, our most consistent, most reliable, the dumbest things of 2024 with our friends at Batting Around. That is Jane, Lauren, and Steven. Many of you probably are already listening to Batting Around, but if you're not, it's a wonderful baseball-ish podcast. And we've been doing this, I think this is the third annual dumbest things of the year. We go around and draft the things that we think were just the silliest, most ridiculous things with a particular flavor for like the online reaction to them, honestly, because that's the way that we view the world and that's the way that we consume a lot of stuff that happens in and around baseball. And I would say that if you have never listened to this episode, go back and check the last couple out. They happen in November of every year and they're timeless.
Yeah, they
hold up. A lot of fun. Yeah, they hold up. And it'll be an incredible time capsule.
Well, this is like, as you mentioned, like a lot of this stuff happens online or the reaction sort of unfolds online and then it moves on so quickly. And this is like so important for me and my Joe Rogan brain, which forgets everything, right? That we can use this to go back.
You as like lib Joe Rogan might have to be something we continue to explore.
Okay, great. Yeah. New Jordan Peterson impression just dropped.
You just start talking to a producer who's not there and doesn't talk back to you. It's just like, look that up. Look that up.
Hey, pull up the tweet real quick. Pull up the tweet. Sorry, the post.
I think that I might be retiring X the Everything app jokes.
Oh, yeah. Not fun anymore.
It's not.
Not really.
Not really. Although I did get some positive feedback on the joke from people saying that they laugh at it every time. So it's not just me, bro. It's not just me. I love doing this episode. Jane, Lauren, and Steven always bring the heat.
Yeah.
It's a long one, and so I don't think we need to do much other discussion. There was a couple small news items in the baseball in the past week, but we have all off-season to talk about these things. Juan Soto is a Met. My name is Bobby Wagner.
I'm Alex Faisley.
And you are listening to Tipping Pitches. All right. You know what it is. It's the dumbest things of 2024. Our friends from Batting Around are here. Jane, Steven, Lauren. Hello. Thank you for joining us. Incredibly normal week to be doing this. Never really thought about what this would mean doing it in November because we haven't done this in an election cycle before. But hello. It's nice to talk to you three.
Hi.
Yeah.
What's an election?
I don't know what that is.
Hey, speaking of the election, I want to just apologize to the American people, everybody that donated through Act Blue. The Batting Round podcast received $250,000 from the Harris campaign to recreate the newsroom set from the newsroom for an interview with her that didn't happen. We're sorry, but we are going to take that money that we have left over, put it into a new subscription box for gold safety pins. We're bringing that back to 2016 is back. It never ended. So lots to look forward to. Watch this space.
I'm just really happy that you were able to do that for just $250,000, you know, because those
we have
things
to cut
run.
some corners.
That's
Yeah,
post-tax.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 The actual raw numbers, we're not prepared to announce that publicly.
Yeah.
Right.
Not until you're audited, at least, because you're woke, too woke now. Everybody's gonna.
No,
all of
we're
our
in the income
podcast
class now where
companies-
we don't get audited anymore. That's
Yep.
not for us anymore.
You just leave that to the small pods like Tipping Pitches over here, where we're going to get audited for all of the shit that we have said over the last 4 years in defense of Joseph Robinette Biden. You know, going to his rest stop on I-95, we're cooked. Posting photos from there, it's over. It's over, Alex.
Mm-hmm.
Dumbest things of 2024, Alex. Would you say this was an exceptionally dumb year or par for the course?
I in the words of Matt Chrisman, this is each year is the dumbest year we ever have, topped only by the next year, right? Like I'm paraphrasing there, but like it was an exceptionally dumb year, right? Like
Sure was.
But I don't really know how do you compare. Is there like dumbest stuff plus that's like adjusted to the environment that we can compare?
Let's get Bailey on this. He's not good at making up stats. He can quantify it, I'm sure.
We got to get Mike Petriello's ass on this. He's too busy focusing on real baseball. We got to get him talking about the important stuff. Well, we were just talking before we got on about our long lists, and I think Lauren won that long list contest with 25 things. On
Not
the
being
long
the
list.
older sister allegations, yeah.
If you've never listened to this segment before, I suggest you just frankly go back the last few years and listen to it because it's our favorite episode to do every year. It's always fun, and it is super, super timeless because these owners, these teams, these media folks, these players, they're just doing the stupidest things you could possibly imagine. What we're going to do is we're going to go around in a draft fashion, and we are going to select the things that are just dumb and silly things that happened in the past year, but with like a particular like online flavor to them, like things that really sent our corners of the internet into a tizzy. And I'm really excited for it. So I don't think we should do any more throat clearing. Why don't we just get right into it? Jane, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I'll start off here. This was one of my favorite ones that happened, and it didn't get very much spotlight. It was in and out pretty quick. But it's so awesome. And the America coming up that we have when regulations are going to get totally thrown out the window. We're destroyed here. But it's Rockies hitting coach Hensley Mullins being photographed in the cockpit of a team plane mid-flight. In the left seat, in the pilot seat, not even the co-pilot seat. That was back in April. It was so awesome.
This was
awesome.
This was my number one with a bullet.
Yeah.
It was just I literally have the article up. I'm like, as soon as they call my name, I'm ready to go.
But it's gonna be legal to do that on airplanes again. All you're gonna need to do is like say it's your birthday, and they legally can't check your ID to make sure that that's even true. Like it's all happening.
The one thing they don't make you check ID for.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You will need to show your birth certificate to make sure it matches the gender marker on your ID, though. That's gonna be required.
I feel honestly silly that we thought we would be able to get this, Alex.
I know.
It's just such a perfect encapsulation of like the jock mentality. It's also like the inverse of like that tweet you would always see of like, I think I could probably catch a touchdown pass, even if I'm just a regular schlub. Because this is someone who's presumably pretty damn good at baseball, or was at one point, who just naturally extends that confidence into every single aspect of their life, including flying a jet plane.
I think I could do it. I think I could land a plane.
Hey, whatever came of that? Did we ever get a resolution to that story?
I was looking today and I couldn't find anything.
Of course,
you
nothing
were doing
happened.
some independent research into that.
Yeah,
just trying to check into the FAA.
Where's a follow up on this? How did the investigation go?
I mean,
there's an-
FAA has had a really normal year, though, as far as I'm concerned, right? Like nothing else weird going on in the
So true.
aeronautical space
So true.
that they've had to look into.
Right.
No, they've got 99 guys on the Boeing case and one guy who's just kind of kicking his feet up on the Rockies hitting coach scandal.
The person that took this photo was found shot to death in a truck. But it's been ruled a suicide.
A full Chick-fil-A meal in his lap, untouched.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
My thing is like this is a chartered flight, right? So there is no way that this hitting coach was the first guy in history to walk up to the cockpit and be like, "Hey man, can I sit behind the wheel and press all the buttons and stuff?" But maybe the first guy to post about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Never post.
Yeah,
You can't just say no to Bam Bam Hensley Mullins, all right?
I would suspect chartered planes, a lot of them probably do have like an Elon setting where you can just like press a button that's kind of hidden, and then like any dumbass CEO could sit down and do anything he wants,
Right.
and it'll just autopilot through it.
I feel like I have to have a brief tangent. I watched Airplane the other day when I was not paying attention to the election results. That shit still fucking hits, dude.
Great,
So
great
good.
choice,
It's
yeah.
so
Awesome
good.
film.
It
Really
still
good.
hits. And he's a hitting coach. That's what makes it funnier. Like if it were a player, we're like, hitting coach.
Right.
It's just mwah.
He was just in there being like, this is just like when you have to stay inside the ball. You just have to stay inside the wings.
It's a teachable moment.
Right, exactly. Move your hands through, roll them over. This is just like that.
Oh.
All right, Steven, take it away.
Oh
first
God. All right. Well, my number one got picked, so I got to go to my number two, and it was when Aaron Boone got ejected for not doing a thing.
This was on mine too.
Yeah.
This was such a good one.
I forgot about this.
Yeah, it's also in April. Aaron Boone gets ejected by Hunter Wendelstedt because he had been given a warning earlier in the game. Later on, some fan directly behind him yells something, and then Wendelstedt immediately just throws Boone out. It's
That's
perfect.
awesome.
10
Because
out of
Boone
10.
gets thrown out all the time.
Yeah.
Which is like
More than
something
any
that's
other
like
manager.
it's something that's like very endearing. Like, I spent a lot of years watching Ron Gardenhire get thrown out like every other game. It was awesome. And like that is something that I do like about Boone. And then I think like Yankees fans can't criticize him for like the guy cares. Like he cares somewhat, at least about that. Like he'll kick some dirt.
Yeah, Savages in the Box was fun for like 48 seconds until John Boy got a hold of it. But that's not Aaron Boone's fault.
No,
Exactly.
No, not at all.
And you know what? Speaking of the Savages in the Box thing, John Boy, just ultimate cowards for not making the eating pussy joke that we did when that happened.
That's what you wanted to hear from John Boy? That's what you're craving more of in baseball media?
No. But he is a coward, and I will say that. Yeah.
Boone's entire body language during this moment is perfect. He looks like a theater kid really going for it. Like, I need to express everything with my body.
It's perfect. It's perfect. Fuck did I do?
Yeah,
right. Like is it the meme of is it 50 Cent, or it's like what he say fuck me for, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah. I also think there's a tactical advantage to this that teams aren't taking aren't using fully, because like those seats behind the dugout, clubs could be stacking those with burly 30, 40-year-old looking guys with very similar voices to whoever the opposing team's coaching staff is. If you do this strategically properly, you could like I don't even just think you don't have to go for the manager. If you can get like the third base coach tossed, that's like there's gonna be like some running errors later in the game. It's unrealized free war.
And this is a thing that, I really like that, Lauren. It's like the equivalent of the guy in the outfield, like when there's a pop fly, the guy sitting in the outfield bleachers that goes, "I got it," and like makes both of the players drop it. Like, we need more of that. And this was like one of the most successful examples of that. I think that's ever happened.
You don't really need a guy, just like an audio system that's like wired very carefully so their team doesn't find it.
Right.
Yeah.
The new market inefficiency is ventriloquists. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The Colorado Rockies, speaking of, they're already set up to do this with the way that they pump the crowd noise for Charlie Blackmon's intros.
Yeah.
Like they already got it. They should try this. They could be cutting edge leaders in this and in aviation.
The next Astros cheating scandal is that they're requiring opposing fans to wear a muzzle when they come into Minute Maid Park. It's like really weird. It's like in the fine print here.
No, they're getting rid of Pride Night. They're definitely not going to have anything like that either.
Okay, Lauren, you want to make a pick?
Sure, yeah. I intentionally look for little scandals, jokes, funny things that were not on like postseason teams to see what I could find. Just because what I love about this episode we do every year is that it's really a chance to highlight that 30 teams played 162 games and dumb shit happened in every single one of them.
Yeah.
And I think that's like the most beautiful thing about baseball. This was my personal favorite. I threatened Jane and Steven if they tried to snipe this from me, there would be a reprisal. And it's going also in early season 1 back to April 30th in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah.
Where we got to see an all-timer classic of a game that started with a 2-hour bee delay.
This is awesome.
It rolled.
This is incredible. There was, first off, shout out to all of like the pest control services that wrote like long form like marketing exercises about this for their websites. Because it's like one of the best preserved baseball stories from early in the season that I've ever seen. Because all these different companies just wrote up like in detail, like why the swarm would have formed on the net behind home plate. Like what's happening when they're doing that is they're splitting the hive after it's grown too full.
Fuck,
it's
who
great.
says
Like all the
blogging is
techniques
dead?
he uses.
Blogging is back. You know?
Once
it's
again, the
only
marketers
for
are going to
pest-
save the world.
Yeah, it's only for pest control. It's only for small businesses, pest control companies, divorce lawyers. Like they all have blogs.
But yeah, this is the bee swarm forms on behind home plate, on the netting behind home plate. It's a huge, massive bees. If you go back and look at the clip, and it takes 2 hours for them to drive in the Matt Hilton, aka Bee Guy from Surprise, Arizona, where he's watching his kid play t-ball, to get him into the park, get him out on a scissor lift, and then suck up the bees. First, you have to like smoke the bees to calm them down.
Right. Of
Then
course.
you can bring out your bee vacuum and bee
Naturally.
suck them into the bee chamber.
Smoke out the
safe-
bees, hotbox the bees.
And then really the coup de grace on the whole thing was, first off, the team is really taking advantage of it, playing Black and Yellow, Let It Be, all the bee theme songs at 2 Hours to Kill. And then christening Thank You Bee Guy on the board. And then letting him throw out the first pitch in the bee suit was, I think, my personal favorite thing in 2024.
Didn't he get a Topps card?
Yeah, and he got a Topps card. They did a limited edition Topps card.
He really owned the moment. Like he worked the crowd. He was doing great. You know, when he got that call, it was like Batman.
Gotta go.
It was like
I think
I must
pest
go.
control, you have to have like a little bit of showmanship if you're in pest control, I think.
I hope
Just
that
in your
his
day-to-day.
I hope that his son writes like a Harry Chapin Cats in the Cradle song about that. Like, my dad left my t-ball game to deal with some bees. Like, he wasn't there.
I
And
like
then
that the bee guy looks sort of like an MLB GM. Like he kind of looks
Yeah.
like Theo Epstein, you know?
A little bit, yeah. He's like yeah. I also do love that this ended up it was a game against the Dodgers for the Diamondbacks, and it ended like a walk off with a Christian Walker 2-run homer. Great ending to the game.
Yeah.
Man, it just really reminds you that, you know, we're powerless against nature as we continue to ruin our planet. What other bizarre occurrences will
No one in
prevent
Phoenix
baseball
has
games
ever
from being
reminded of
played?
that ever. Yeah.
Great choice. Great choice. Alex, I'd like you to do the honors of our first pick because you brought this to my attention and I had no idea that it happened. And it's my, in a dark way, kind of favorite thing that happened this baseball season. The first thing that I thought of when I wrote down my long list for this exercise.
Yeah, this is when I came across it, I almost did not believe that this was real. It felt AI generated to me. Macklemore, the rapper, was performing at a free concert in a park in the Seattle area over the summer, and he has become one of pop culture's foremost experts on the offensive operation with scare quotes happening in Gaza right now. And he has made that very clear how he feels about that. And so he, on this stage, the crowd started chanting, "Fuck America." And he said, "Yeah, go ahead. I'm not going to stop you. That's right. Fuck America." And all of the Seattle sports teams then had to release statements condemning Macklemore. The Seattle Mariners said, "We are aware of the incident and agree with the other teams in town. Sports and music should connect, not divide us. We continue to monitor and research latest developments."
Now, an important detail of this is that if you don't know at home, Macklemore is like the number one Mariners fan in the world. If you're not a Mariners fan, he's like the guy. You know, he's like the most famous current Mariners fan. They play "Can't Hold Us" in, is that the name of the song? I never know the name of Macklemore's songs. I could like sing a couple bars. Yeah, I don't think so either. Alex is a big "Same Love" fan. That's his favorite song. Yeah. And they play Macklemore music after "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," so he is like ingrained in Mariners culture.
He's written songs about the Mariners,
and they felt the need to quote continue to monitor and research latest developments on the crowd chanting "Fuck America" at a Macklemore concert. Like this is what Jerry Dipoto was thinking about instead of the fucking stretch run. Like this is maybe why the Mariners are not in the playoffs.
I need to talk to the staffer who was tasked with like following up on this in 6 months. Like, hey, can you circle back with Macklemore and see, does he still stand behind "Fuck America" or not?
Can we mediate any of his stances? You know, can we Tim Waltz him maybe a little bit?
He's got TweetDeck open on his computer, and it's different hashtags: Macklemore, hashtag Gaza, hashtag incident. And then like off screen in a tab you can't see is like the DMs with like the Angels GM offering him like a late inning arm for like peanuts.
Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly.
Yeah, they had to pivot last minute to have Ben Gibbard sing the anthem at their
There's
home
only
opener
two
instead.
goated white dudes who can sing at baseball games. It's Ben Gibbard and Macklemore. We just lost one.
Yeah.
So Ben Gibbard, clear your schedule for 2025, brother.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's our first pick. Let's go on to round 2. Jane, you're up.
I also want to stick with non-playoff teams. And specifically, I want to talk about the White Sox. And there were so many dumb things with the White Sox.
I can't wait to see what you actually go with.
As soon as you started talking about regulations, I knew what you were going to pick. You said, "This is the White Sox." I'm like, no idea where this is going.
Could be anything.
But my standout moment for the White Sox, and I have several, but my standout moment is Pedro Grifol insisting that baseball was more important than witnessing a once-in-a-generation eclipse.
Yep.
Like, it's like, no, you dare take 6 minutes off from batting practice in the worst season of all time to watch an eclipse. Like, don't you dare do that. That was crazy.
They were in Cleveland. It was total blackout where they were. It was like the perfect, like very rare, not once in a lifetime, but close to it opportunity.
I think it's okay to go step away from baseball for a couple minutes when the highlight of the White Sox season was a milkshake. I think you can, check out an eclipse.
Here's the exact quote. Here's the exact quote, folks.
Yeah.
Quote, "I'll see videos of it, see what it looks like, but there's baseball. I probably shouldn't say that, but family and baseball. People don't believe it, but I live it."
I think he put that family part in there when he, I think that was an audible. I think he realized what he's saying was insane. And he was like, there's only baseball. Wait a minute. Also family. Wait a minute. Also, but the troops. And that was definitely an audible.
I kind of don't even really know what he means.
No, it's incoherent.
Yeah.
Does he like eat food? Does he like music either? Like, where should we draw this line? Like, it's not. They delayed the baseball game. The thing that you're saying that you can't watch it because of this, they delayed it because of the eclipse, and he still wouldn't watch it. I just don't get it.
Well, they have that extra time to grind now. They should focus on the grind.
Was he throwing BP in the tunnel during all this, or like what was he doing? He was probably playing fucking Candy Crush, like the cops in the subway. What are we talking about here? Amazing choice. I guess other White Sox stuff could be taken, so I don't want to spoil anything else. But I'll leave that till the end, and we can
Or we
talk
could just
about-
get all the
Yeah.
White Sox out of
I
the
mean,
way here.
we were
We've got
talking.
enough.
We were talking earlier about how do you judge the dumbness of a season comparative to other seasons.
Mhm.
This is kind of like dropping like a Babe Ruth season and
Yeah.
throwing off the WAR for everyone else.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like an 18.4 WAR season, and you're like, what the fuck?
Like it's not every
Um,
season you see someone like actually break like incredibly historical records for like being dog shit.
Yeah. The way that I was going to try to summarize all of it was that every individual thing is great, and we could probably just do a draft of just things that happened to the White Sox this year. But I was going to say the fact that Reinsdorf was like, I might want to sell the team at the end of the season after the season that they just had, to me was the dumbest thing of the White Sox 2024
No,
season.
I'm going to push back on that. I actually think that was genius. I think that he knew that Trump was going to win and the estate tax is going away forever. So now is the perfect time to sell it, get that money to his kids when he dies without the government taking 1 red cent of it.
God
Perfect
damn
timing.
it. What did
See,
he know?
I
If only the Angelos had that on their side.
I appreciated Chris Getz, who like midway through or like near the end of the season was like, yeah, if you told me at the beginning of the season we were going to lose 105, 110 games, I would have believed you. If you told me we were going to lose 120, I would have been a little shocked. I'm like, that's your line. You were like 105, 110. That sounds about right. That sounds like us.
We're feeling more like the 3rd worst team of all time, but the worst team of all time. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I can't really stomach that. No. Okay, Steven, your pick.
All right. I'm actually going to stay with the Rockies because we have our first callback.
This is what this episode exists for, man. Like,
they
no
don't
one talks
get
about the
any
Rockies
attention
all year.
otherwise. Yeah, they don't get any attention otherwise.
None of us have mentioned the World Series winners yet.
No.
Like that team has not been mentioned yet. But we've talked. This is the third time we're talking about the Rockies. So we've done this. This is a legacy episode. We've done this. This is our 3rd time now.
I believe so.
I think so, yeah.
Which is exciting because we get to do callbacks to previous years. How about Cal Quantrill telling Reese McGuire to go jack off in a fucking parking lot?
God, that was awesome.
Because
Steven, this is the dumbest thing episodes, not the most awesome things that have ever happened episode.
I think the dumbest thing here is relitigating a guy jacking off in a parking lot. But man, as a hater, a person whose primary animating force behind baseball and sports fandom is being a hater, you know he had this in the chamber ready to go.
Oh yeah,
ready to fucking go.
Yeah.
When he was lying awake at night, the night before this game, he was like, this is exactly how I'm going to say it. This is what my face is going to look like.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to write this one down. Like, I'm writing what everybody picks. I just wrote Cal Quantrill, quote, you jerked off, TK, ...
Yeah.
I kind of want him to drop the like Oppo research folder now. You know, I want to know what else he has, because like this one, obviously, you know, I mean, it happened a couple years ago, so clearly he's been spending some time putting together this dossier of info on other players. I need to know what's in there.
Was I like the only one that remembered that happening? Because when he said that, or when I first heard this, like, you know, come across the transom, I was like, oh, fuck yeah. Like, I totally remember this happening because it happened in 2020.
Yeah.
When there was not a ton of baseball news going on, except like, is the season going to happen? So like, I don't know. I was super aware of this one. I was so happy to see it come back.
Jane, our first episode was whether or not the 2020 season counted.
Yeah.
Wow, that's an incredible time capsule.
Yeah. Which it doesn't.
Shut up.
Shots fired.
What I like about this is it implies to me that he probably hears this all the time and just never gets caught on the mic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like there's
I
29
would
teams who give him shit about it every time he travels there, probably.
If I got caught jacking off in a parking lot in Florida, I would like go into witness protection. I'd change my name. There's
I think
absolutely
it's
no
more
way
acceptable in Florida.
Yeah, that's I was gonna say that's
think-
another thing that's gonna be legal very soon, like outright legal, if not encouraged.
This is a great pick. Thank you, Steven. Lauren, that turns it over to you.
Excellent. I'm going to take us a little further north. I'm kind of surprised this felt around too. Like if we were like ranking this, if we were like this is more like a tier system, like in a fantasy draft, I think this would be like no, like pick one, turn one, and it's something that didn't even really happen. It's the flight to Toronto that that never actually happened. When for a brief 2 or 3 hour period at most, the entire internet north of the border went completely nuts. After I don't remember where the rumor started. The first tweet I remember seeing was John Morosi saying Shohei Ohtani is en route to Toronto today with a representative of his agency. And this went back and forth. People were doing like it immediately became like the most tracked flight anywhere by a huge margin. People were like speculating about like what airport it's going to land at, when we can expect touchdown. Has anyone seen him get on the plane? Has anyone seen on and on and on?
Right.
And
Did he get an exit
out,
row? He has long legs, like we're really worried about his comfort.
Is he getting the little like the little bag of pretzels or like the little bag of like mixed crunchy stuff?
Does he agree that a ginger ale at 30,000 feet is better than a ginger ale at sea level somehow? Like, yes.
Maybe he's a tomato juice guy. I don't know.
Maybe.
I love the thing that makes it really stupid too is that it turned out that the airplane was the one that was like belonged to the guy from Shark Tank.
Yes. A crucial detail.
Dragon's Dead. Even not even Shark Tank.
Oh, okay. Wow.
The cheaper version of Shark Tank.
No, in my mind, I'm headcanoning it. It was Mr. Wonderful's plane.
I love that.
But you know what's also awesome about this is that Jays fans booed Ohtani when he went to Toronto. It was incredible.
As far as we know, he never even knew about this. Yeah.
I love that we got our own balloon boy. It's like, oh, where's Shohei Ohtani? Oh, he's actually been in the attic this whole time.
Yeah, the nation holds its breath. Yeah.
Yeah, they finally figured out that he wasn't on the plane. He just went for a walk or something. It was like, hey, aren't you supposed to be?
Yeah. When this happened, we were like, okay, well, we should. I think it was happening on like a Friday. We're like, we should record tomorrow if this is real. Let's just be proactive. Let's see if we can find some Toronto sports guests on short notice.
That's right.
And I sent out 2 DMs. I sent one out to Andrew Stoughton.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course to our friend of the pods, Steve Sladkowski.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, well, I hope they could do this on short notice. I hope that, they'll see this in time. Both of them responded within like 90 seconds. like, yes, we're all in. Like, yeah, of course I want to talk about this. And then about, an hour and a half later, we're like, never mind. Sorry, guys. What a roller coaster. What a roller coaster. It was so good.
I was in Toronto at the time, and like my friends there who aren't big baseball people all were texting me, and they're like, oh my God, we're getting Ohtani. I'm like, yeah.
You guys are leaving out the part where JP Hornstra, who is a writer for, I don't know, he's probably changed jobs like 3 times since then. But he was like a credentialed LA, like a Dodgers writer for a long time. And he tweeted out, Ohtani has signed with the Blue Jays. Like he was like, I confirm this.
Yeah.
So then the flight just became like lore in that. And then there was a lot of other bigger reporters being like, I haven't been able to confirm this. And so people were like, how much do I believe this? How much do I not believe this? Like this was a real 72 hours on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And I don't think it was that much longer after this happened that he did in fact sign with the Dodgers.
Yeah, it was like the next day.
It was a couple days later. Yeah, it was not long after.
And he broke it himself on his fucking Instagram account.
Oh yeah,
That's awesome.
I forgot about that.
His power.
Good for him. That was awesome.
This is one of the things that didn't make my list because I forgot that was still this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I would say this is maybe the last truly great day of Twitter we might ever see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, did this happen in December of last year, or was this in January? December of last year.
I think,
yeah.
recorded after the last
calendar
episode.
year. Yeah.
It counts. We were talking that there's a sort of like limbo period where after we record this episode to the end of the year, people are free to do shit as dumb as they want. But no. Lauren sees them. Lauren sees them.
All seeing
get
eyes
away with that
monitoring the Reddit for the baseball Reddit for anything that gets too rowdy.
Exactly. You're like the Sauron of leftist baseball podcasting. Okay. Our second pick. Not sure if this really broke through to your guys' world as much as it did to ours, but this is probably like the most excited I had ever been to do a podcast was when we found out that Brewers owner Mark Attanasio was embroiled in a legal battle in Malibu because he had been digging up and stealing the sand of his neighbors' houses to rebuild his property that he had just bought for millions of dollars. This was broken by the Los Angeles Times. The California Coastal Commission is investigating Mark Attanasio. Still no result from this, by the way, because he had just been stealing sand to do construction and his rich neighbors were really mad at him. And this is just the Brewers owner. Like, what? Why is he there? Why is he doing this? Why is he out there in Malibu stealing his neighbor's sand? Yeah, and then he gets sued for it.
He should be stealing sand on the shores of Lake Michigan, not on the ocean.
This is this is extremely your beat, and I loved hearing you talk about it, but you're the only people that I know who talked about this.
It's not the first time that Attanasio was cited by the Coastal Commission for stealing sand. They attached an additional notice from 2008 accusing the Brewers owner of scooping sand from the beach for a different house he owned half a mile away. This is his fucking thing. He just steals his neighbor's sand
and like
to remodel his homes.
Yeah, this is like one of the only things that you can't get away with as a rich guy in America is fucking with like shorelines and waterways and stuff.
Yeah, it's like water law, tree law, sand law, or like the three unbreakable, bus law. Those are the only things that like any regulatory agency will actually crack down and come down on you hard for.
What you really can't do is you can't be nouveau riche around other billionaires.
Yeah, no,
you can't be buying two neighboring Malibu properties for a combined $23 million and stealing sand to remodel them. Like that's just, and he is a newly rich, new money finance guy, and he's actually kind of broke by baseball standards, but this is where it was going to pay for the fucking construction crews to steal the sand of his neighbors. I know that like literally no one else in the world cares about this as much as I. But the fact that, again, similar to how we were talking about how Jerry DiPoto was not focusing on the Mariners because he was too busy like copy editing a statement about Palestine and Macklemore.
He was digging up photos from Macklemore when he wore that prosthetic nose.
Exactly. The notion that Attanasio was like not signing off on trades to make the Brewers better at the deadline because he was worried about the California Coastal Commission is just really, really funny to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hey, he's about to find himself in a much more regulatory, compliance-free era, so he'll be fine.
Mm-hmm. I do have to push back on you a little bit. You did say that you're the only person in the world that cares about this as much as you do, but I think the neighbors care a lot, and I think you should get them on the pod.
That's probably a good idea.
That's
At
a really
least
good
we should
idea.
get their lawyers on the pod. Tipping Pitches is an outlet for lawyers to come on and talk about lawsuits. That has always been true and always will.
You're a baseball podcast,
right?
Say less.
Yeah, we know our audience. Yeah.
Fucking Mark Attanasio. What a
Awesome.
bum. What
Awesome.
a bum. What a bum. All right, Jane. Let's go to the third round.
All right, do we have two more?
Let's do. Yeah, we could do two more. We're moving through these pretty quick.
Okay. I'll also stick with one about an owner then, and something that happened, after the the 2023 World Series. Because this just had so many knock-on effects that were really horrible, and it's Peter Seidler dying. I think that really, really had a lot of dumb effects. There's talk that he was leading a group of owners to try to get the, keep the A's in Oakland to stop that vote from going through unanimously. And also just like the Padres cheaping out and going downhill and trading Juan Soto in this year. Like that was crazy. Like really, really, really terrible. All that, that guy built that franchise back up, and yeah, him dying really, really sucked.
Not the owner I wanted.
No.
Well, didn't it come out like last week that he was super close to, at least according to what's his name, the asshole agent everyone loves because he's hilarious.
Horace?
He came out and said he came out and said that Soto was super close to signing with the Padres long term. Right before he died, like he was trying to get it done.
That's
before he
I
died.
didn't see that.
Oh
Yeah.
my god,
That's really interesting. I hadn't
Yeah.
seen that.
I hadn't heard that either.
It came up on Effectively Wild, I think last week, and it's just like a total like time, like how much that would have changed West Coast baseball
Yeah.
for the next
Mhm.
like the landscape of that team for the next 10 years. And
Yeah.
now he's going to end up probably with the Yankees. Great.
If they had Juan Soto for that playoff run,
Mhm.
like, oh my god, yeah.
He was like a really interesting figure in baseball in the last 5 years because he was like the number one guy drawing contradictions into focus, because it would be like, here's all these small market owners falling in line. Here's the big market owners doing their part of playing the big bad wolf and saying like, oh, we have all this money. We're trying to, compete smartly and sign good contracts or whatever. And all the other small market or medium market, or mid market, whatever they call it, owners being like, oh no, we can't possibly afford this. And Seidler was just like, fuck you, $300 million payroll. We're going to trade every single prospect that we have ever developed for a sick player, and then we're going to sign him to a 10-year contract. And then there would be like anonymous executives running to the Athletic to be like, can we please give you a quote about how we don't know how the Padres are affording this? Like it's like nothing I've ever seen before. So yeah, it was a bummer, and also like it did sort of, I think, inspire a lot of owners to be back on their bullshit afterwards. Okay, Steven, you're up.
Oof. Okay. I still haven't touched any of my obvious ones. I figured I'm surprised that no one's going for the big ones yet. But I'll leave them. I'll instead go. I was leaving this up for Alex to grab if he wanted it, but it's time.
Do it.
The fucking ass hat. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so
Oh my
good.
god.
Mm-hmm.
That
it got as far as it did, from like concept to marketing to production to appearing at the stadium.
Yeah.
They had to shut it down when people were buying it in droves. Was just priceless.
We should say, for the people who are listening to this 3,000 years in the future, trying to piece together what happened this year that made everything go wrong. You should Google this hat. This is an A's hat, ostensibly supposed to be broadcasting the A's.
God, I don't want to think about what Google's going to be like in 3,000 years.
of the repeating S. It's worth looking up this hat and taking a moment to, as a professional marketer, appreciate a true flop.
Is it a flop or is it?
Hey, it got everyone talking. Right? All of a sudden, everyone's talking about your product.
No one else is talking about the A's this year.
Exactly.
Yeah, they really need something to break through.
It's the Tommy Wiseau's The Room of hats.
Yeah, absolutely.
They were reselling for $5,000, bro. That's like 3 rent payments, man.
Yeah, I'm so mad. So mad.
Look, you need people to talk about you on social media if you want to keep your profile up. And you can't do that when you have the comments turned off on every single one of your posts. So you need to do something like release a hat that says ass on it.
Like recently they officially changed like their 3-letter name shortened from like OAK. They should have just made it ASS.
Yeah.
And what is it now? Is it ATH?
Yeah, ATH.
Yeah. So it's like you're saying ass with a lisp.
Daffy Duck.
Yeah.
Great choice. Lauren, that turns it to you for your third pick.
Excellent. I also have an A's related one. There's plenty we could do about the A's.
There was, yeah.
I want to highlight an actual on-field, hilariously dumb thing.
Ah, yes. This is also on my list.
It's the top of the 12th inning in a late game between the Houston Astros and the Oakland A's. There's a runner on third. Daz Cameron is at the plate against Hector Neris. Great pitcher, solid hitter, good base runner. And he decides he's going to bunt. Lays down a perfect bunt. Right side of the field, flawless, makes it to first, no problem. Max Schumann is up. Runners on third and first. Max Schumann, not a great hitter, does a smart play. He also bunts. Tie game is now. Hector Neris has to field the ball. He's running in, makes the scoop, and throws the ball directly down into the ground, letting the runner score at home. 3-2 game. I'm not going to do the full play-by-play. It's the most incredibly clutch ending to a game I think I've ever seen. Of the 3-bunt, 2-run inning in the top of the 12th.
Just surely they're not going to bunt again. Like this is like what happens on MLB The Show when you're playing online and like the other opponent realizes that like you don't know how to play very well.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I'm gonna just keep stealing on you because you don't know how to like keep the runners.
Yeah, this is like the equivalent of
play
like when you're with your friend and you know that they just swing at everything and you're just spiking sliders and they're just like swinging out of their shoes.
There's nothing to do.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do. It's just human nature.
Yeah,
This is why I was so
awesome.
fucking pissed when more teams were not just bunting down the first baseline to see if Freddie Freeman's broken ankle could get his ass down the line to field it. Like, why don't more teams do stuff like this where they're just like cutting against the grain? I think it's because most people within baseball have a really small-minded approach and think that's like a bush league thing to do. You know, it's like the same reason that pitchers won't throw an off-speed pitch for the first pitch of the game. Like most pitchers, if you talk to them or if you watch them, every first pitch of the game is a fastball. Just because they're like, I'm not too scared to throw you my fastball for the first pitch of the game. And this was very similar to me. And they're like, well, they won't bunt a third time. That's embarrassing. That's like what a little league team would do. And then they did it.
And it was masterful. You're absolutely right that teams don't do this. But they should, considering like the Dodgers basically won the World Series on this strategy. Like just let the other team screw up and give you free runs.
Right. Like
Hector Neris was sitting at home on the Garrett Cole game, screaming at the TV, "Not so easy as it looks, is it,
fellas?" Okay, wonderful choice. Alex, that turns it over to us. We're going to stay in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you guys familiar with one McCovey Cove Dave? He is the Giants super fan who hangs out in the McCovey Cove in his little kayak.
Oh yeah, every team has a guy like this. I don't get it.
Every team has a guy like this. He has been out there for years. He's very well known. He's gotten to know former players. Like he's acknowledged by the organization. This summer, I think it was, Elliot Ramos became the first right-handed hitter to hit a splash hit, right? Am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
Yes.
And McCovey Cove Dave, being the wonderkind that he is, got the ball and then proceeded to give a bunch of interviews after the game talking about how Elliot Ramos has to earn this ball if he wants to give it to him. He talks about how these Sandoval, Belt, and Pence went out of their way to interact and give love to Giants fans. So they've earned those balls. Elliot, this is the beginning of his season. I hope he has a fantastic career. He could get this ball, but he has to earn it. He has to play 10 years for the Giants and then become deeply loved. And when I pass away, then yeah. What?
Man.
Baffling.
Yeah.
He's doing like civil asset forfeiture for like home run balls. You know, he's like, actually, I'm legally entitled to this ball, and here's the statute that tells you that I can keep it until I die.
Look, it happened in the water. It's admiralty law.
That's so true. This is like
Honestly,
he's trying to put in international waters law, like I've been saying for years, that MLB teams, what would happen if they just went out on a big fucking ship in the middle of the ocean? Would they have to follow United States laws? Would they have to follow the CBA? There's no legal precedent for it. We could find out. That's what McCovey Cove Dave is trying to institute.
Yeah.
It's just so like, all right, dude, way to make
Yeah.
yourself a part of the story. You know,
Yeah,
like I mean,
exactly.
I frankly I blame this on the reporters who put a microphone in front of them.
Absolutely.
That's usually the case
Absolutely.
of where this goes wrong. Yeah.
mean,
I do feel a little bit of not sympathy or empathy, but like he's out there most games in the Bay Area on the water.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like at not like late at night. That's a lot of like cold, rainy evenings to not even really watch the game.
Right. You're just sitting there crossing your fingers, hoping that
Yeah.
get some action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a little dingy boat that could flip over at any time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And he just does it for years. It's kind of like a fisherman, like just like after 40 years on the job, trawls up like a bar of gold or whatever. I'm okay with letting him have it.
Right.
I, this guy, the photo of him with the ball, and he's just like holding his oar above his head, like he
Right.
just won a gold medal in crew. Like it's just his shirt just says Dave across the front. Like,
Oh
what?
God.
What
He
is-
looks exactly like I would expect him to look.
I just
Every team's like guy like this, where they're the one like the wacky team character, they'll have their own merch.
yeah.
That
Yeah.
I don't know if they try to sell it like on a website or something, but he's got his McCovey Cove Dave hat and shirt and like a little laminated card that's like ready to go.
Who buys that?
It's a lot of merch.
I'm just really happy that no one has ever taught Zach Hampel how to kayak, because otherwise this would have been a fucking bloodbath out there.
Maybe we need to teach
I
him.
actually
to
was
kayak.
about to say that.
I don't think he'd settle for a kayak. He'd be on like a swamp airboat, just like blasting around.
Fine, that's fine.
Yeah, it looked like a
it's-
fucking Mad Max.
It's
Like,
a let
but
them
on the
fight
water.
situation.
Yeah.
We gotta get the big lizard to fight the big monkey.
It'll be like the kayaking polo game that we watched on an episode.
The canoe polo.
Canoe polo, where they're
Yes.
You should
just
follow up on that.
smashing
That's
into
a
each
fucking
other.
amazing
Yeah.
sport.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we really should. Lauren, I'm glad that you got to meet our guy like this when you were here. The
Oh,
guy
God, yeah.
the extremely like looks like he's had 12 DUIs guy that stands out by left field in the plaza Target Field and holds up a sign informing people how many days it's been since Byron Buxton played center field.
Oh my god.
And like he didn't play center field at all 2023 because he was hurt and he only DH'd, and even then he was still all fucked up. But like he played like 90 or 100 games at center field this year. Like in August he was like injured for a couple weeks, and this guy was out there like Byron Buxton hasn't played center field in 19 days or something. It's fucking stupid.
The
Like,
key to
we got to
being-
stop these fans.
I
We gotta
agree. The
stop
key to
them.
being like a normal version of one of these fans is you just need to do like incredibly eBay shit. Like the Mets, they have Cowbell Man and they have Pin Man. These are the two people that go around. Cowbell Man just shakes a cowbell and gets everybody to cheer. And Pin Man literally has like 200 pins pinned to his outfit at all times and just walks around the stadium taking selfies with people. That is like the extent of the super fandom that we should have. Nothing more, nothing less. You don't need to be in a kayak. You don't need to have signs shaming players for not playing. Like, just be a normal 63-year-old guy who spends too much time and money on eBay, and we'll love you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just prop limit.
And don't give interviews. Just don't put a microphone in front of anybody's face.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Let's do one final round here on the main feed, and then we'll do more Patreon stuff later. But let's do last round here, Jane.
Okay. All right. I'm going to do one from just the other day, and it was a very, very small thing, but I did get a good laugh out of it, a much needed laugh. And it's in that genre of people not understanding, specifically conservatives not understanding Rage Against the Machine at all. And it was Nolan Arenado after Trump won posting a screenshot of his Spotify playing Rage Against the Machine's Take the Power Back.
Jeez.
I didn't even know this happened. What's
Yeah.
I didn't either.
Yeah, it was.
Oh my
He
God.
put it on his, I think his Instagram stories. He was, like just gloating over the election win. Yeah, doing Take the Power Back. Like, yeah, that's what Rage Against the Machine was talking about. And Tom Morello like spent like the days leading up to the election, calling people fucking idiots.
Yeah.
On there and like having to defend their lyrics. It was pretty great.
Not to be a contrarian, but I don't want my third baseman to be smarter than that. That's the exact that position.
Yeah.
That's the exact level I want him to be on.
Yeah. it's just like they only spend their mental energy on baseball, like on nothing else but baseball. They can't do it into interpreting art or being a well-rounded person. No, you can't do that at all.
I don't want a third baseman who like goes and sees like in art house movies and is spending all of his time thinking about like his favorite A24 pictures. I want like a guy who's like flummoxed by anything more complicated than Iron Man 2.
Yeah, that's our beat. They like we're the freaks. They can have their
This is why Spencer Strider is so baffling to me.
Yes,
right. Because
absolutely.
he's just like, I like all the same stuff as you guys. I'm like, yeah, but you throw 99, dude. What the fuck?
Right. You don't have to like all the same stuff.
Right.
You can go throughout your life blissfully unaware of everything else.
Yeah, he's like, no, check out my Spotify playlist of Giorgio Moroder's best fucking songs. And like,
you don't have to be disappointed that the Strokes never followed up with a better album than the first one. Like, you just don't. You just don't. Like, your slider moves a lot. Great pick, Nolan Arenado. The fucking Cardinals.
God.
Just
another team that you could do a whole episode just on all the dumb stuff that happened to them this season.
Yeah, well, they were one of the teams that checked off one of our bingo cards this year when there was like a cultural controversy when they did the fist up celebration at second base, and they were like, "We don't know what that is." This is just all right. Steven, what's your next pick?
So I gotta go with the last one on in this round. You guys got your beat covered. You did the owner thing. We got to cover our beat too.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
It's time to talk about Jarren Duran saying the F slur.
Yeah. yeah.
Fuck, I forgot about this.
Not like it is time to talk about Jarren Duran using the F slur during a game at a fan, getting suspended, offering the least sincere apology I've ever heard.
That clearly was not written by him.
It was written. No. It was not, like that was handed to him by a PR person who threatened him.
Yeah.
And then having his jersey become the top selling jersey the following week.
Yes.
Yes. Really just extremely 2024 thing to happen.
Yeah. Didn't he come out and he was like wearing some shirt afterwards when he was giving interviews that said like it's like I don't even fucking care or whatever.
Yeah. But that's like his that's
like
his thing,
right? Yeah.
But yeah, it's we can extrapolate pretty easily that he was using his established thing to comment on this new thing.
Right.
Yeah, good stuff.
Wasn't the fan saying something like incredibly silly to him too? Like
tennis racket.
Oh yeah,
tennis racket. You need a tennis racket. And I will not say the F slur on your podcast, even though we say it on ours all the time.
Honestly, fucking owned. That fan owned him so hard.
Yeah.
It's so good, effective, right? Not trying to reinvent the wheel there with that razzing.
Yeah.
You said two words, and then the Boston missed their best player for 2 whole games because of it.
Like, and he was like, he had a goal to play all 162, and he had done that up until that point, and then he ended up only playing 160.
Oh, I didn't know about the goal. That's beautiful.
That rocks.
Really funny.
That's hater masterclass. Yeah.
And it's in hindsight, it's really especially bad that he got off so light and really shines poorly at MLB when like we watched throughout this World Series the constant ads of illegal immigrants are getting transgender surgeries in prison, Kamala's for they them stuff, and like I know that the networks can't prevent anyone from running that, but like some of them did say
why not?
No.
Right, I'm like those are your airwaves.
Right, no, like by law, like they have to run campaign ads and give equal time and stuff, and like, but still some of them put little disclaimers ahead of it that are like, yeah, this is bad, this is like really really evil stuff. And like Lauren Tyson at Defector pointed out, like, MLB could have said something.
Yeah,
like they could have come back from commercial break and been like, we don't stand by any of this, but they didn't.
They do.
Yeah, they do stand by it. Just like, they only gave him a tiny little slap on the wrist for saying, slurs at a fan. Like, it wasn't even like he said it at another player or something. He said it at a fan. Like, really, really terrible.
That is what deserves the harder punishment. It's like, yeah, you said a slur that harms a community. You need to be punished for that. But also, don't fucking talk to a fan like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're a player.
MLB has like very clearly decided to like states' rights this issue. Like they've just decided to be like, whatever you guys think is good, you know, like if 27 to 30 teams love Pride and want to talk about it, like we'll support that. But if the Rangers are just like, actually, we'd rather talk about like the military industrial complex, then fine. You know, like and Manfred's like, and what am I to do? Rob Manfred as the commissioner of baseball. Like, how could I possibly ever say anything bad about this? Like, what is Ray Davis going to do if you say that the Rangers should have a Pride night? He's probably just going to die. He'll get so mad. Like, and that would be a net win for everybody. The guy's like 98. He barely even made it onto the podium last year for the World Series trophy. Mm-hmm. He looked reanimated.
Shout out Manfred for having a very cowardly answer on exactly the subject when he was asked about this directly with the Rangers hosting the All-Star game. Yeah. Total coward.
Yeah, he didn't see it as a make or break issue or something like that was the quote that he gave, which is just
we're definitely
like,
going to see less. Yeah, we're definitely going to see less Pride nights.
Yeah, the number is currently 29. It is going down.
Yeah. Well, their response to the like Georgia voting law and like moving the All-Star game out of Atlanta and then just like moving it back was like so encapsulated how they respond to these things, which is just like, we just look around, see what way the political winds are blowing, and then go from there. Whatever's the path of least resistance.
They're embodying Veep.
Yes.
Yeah. We live in a world where like the loudest and sometimes only voices in the room are just crisis PR people. Like they're just like, this is what we just have to, we don't actually stand for anything. We're just following what we think people are going to be least mad at to maximize the profit. Like
they're going to hold the next amateur draft in Cop City.
Fuck. And then in 4 years when we run Newsom and he finally wins and he murders Trump on live television, they're going to do it in the Portland commune or whatever the fuck that they say is happening up there.
The free zone. Yeah, the free state.
Okay. Great pick, Steven. Lauren, that kicks it over to you.
Okay. I have a pick here, but I kind of need like a heat check from the room on whether this is too obvious to pick. It is, but it's incredibly dumb. I feel like we have to at least acknowledge it, even if we don't really want to get into it.
We've been avoiding all the obvious picks.
Yeah,
right?
No,
I
have a thing where there's 5 obvious ones that I'm shocked no one has touched.
Yeah, this is the most like we're hipster up our own asses. Like,
too much.
They're awful. I think it's good we're trying to bring attention to the smaller stuff. This was like an actual huge story that dominated baseball for weeks.
Uh-huh.
Ippei Mizuhara cheating scandal.
Yeah. There it goes.
Yeah.
I have I think 3 of the things I have on my list of the 19 things I wrote down are related to this.
Well, let me ask you this. Like, what part of this do you think is like in our specific language that we're speaking here was the dumbest thing? Because I have something in my mind, but I'm curious if it's the same for you.
For me, it's the fact that the sheer amount of money he gambled away of more than $40 million across 19,000. The sheer size of it is what really gets my goat the most. Although I acknowledge that's probably not yours. That's probably not like because there's so many aspects of this, so many sides of it that are all fascinating.
For me, the dumbest thing is all of the conspiracy theories about people saying that the FBI wrote a fake report to protect Ohtani. I'm like, this guy is not that important to the world. Like, he's important to baseball, but Rob Manfred is not like twisting the arm of the FBI director to be like, cover up Ohtani's betting scandal. Like, that's not happening.
Yeah, he's not Israeli. He's Japanese. Yeah.
Yeah. And I read that whole report. Like I read that entire report and it was extremely thorough. Yeah. And there's no way that they were like keeping Ohtani protected here. They don't give a shit about a huge contract. No fucking way.
Dude, the text he was sending his bookie too, when he's just like, FBI might be coming to arrest me, LMAO, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just like,
can I please have another $400,000? Sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to bet on UCLA women's soccer. Please, please front me another $2 million.
Man.
And what's really awesome is that like this just immediately happened when, the MLB embraced gambling so hard. Like they had been doing it for years, but like they really put the pedal down during last off season.
Yeah.
And we just had this and just a litany of other gambling scandals right away.
Yeah.
And
Like right away.
last offseason, Alex and I met to do like a brainstorm of, okay, what are some episodes aside from like our normal weekly, we talk about whatever happened in like our corner of the world. What are some episodes that we can try to do? And one of the things that Alex came up with was, what if we did like a betting scandal pod? Like, what if we, like a fictional thing where we write what might happen? And they fucking preempted us like 3 days into the season. And we ended up doing it. Like,
They just
slightly
tweeted it
differently.
out. Yeah.
Exactly. They just tweeted it out because reality, as has been the case for years and years now for our pods, for our pod and your pod as well, I assume, reality is like too hard to parody at this point. Like they are just doing it already.
It's like that James Bond movie where like from about 15 years ago where the enemy was or the bad guy was like stealing water. And like it was like, no, this is actually a thing that Nestle's doing right now, but we had to tone down the numbers of like how much water they were stealing and like how much it's worth because it was to make it believable. Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
Nestle's really cooking up something special over there. Like those guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
I think
how are you going to tell them no? Like you're just not going to have crunch bars. Like, yeah.
I think the capper on this story for me is that apparently for years there's like a Coen Brothers-esque situation where Ipe and Otani were the only guys in the room that spoke Japanese.
Yes.
And he was just telling people what the fuck ever.
Yeah.
Based on what Otani was saying.
And also, like, there were Japanese fans who were pointing out the fact that the translations were dog shit for like a year. You know?
Yeah.
And there's nobody paid attention. Like, nobody at Otani's agency, nobody on the Dodgers side, like nobody at MLB was like, hey, this is weird. You know, it just goes to show that like whatever like safety nets we think that we have in society really depend on like at least one person caring, and they just didn't in this instance.
There usually isn't that person there, yeah.
Exactly.
They're just alone in the room with the guy who handles all of his bank accounts.
Right, exactly.
That's so insane that like I'm just gonna let my translator do everything for me and be in charge of my bank accounts.
Yeah.
like I don't know if I had anywhere close, like not, you know, if I had a fraction of the amount of money that Shohei has, I would have accountants watching accountants.
Yeah.
And he's
I'm already doing that to you when you send us the money for the monthly Patreon on Venmo.
Yeah. But most of our Patreon money goes towards two accountants that are logged into our bank accounts. Yeah,
It's actually, you're joking, but same. Like,
That's actually.
like, I think honestly, we should just sort of have a handshake deal right here, live on the air, where like we're the batting around watchdog, and you guys are the tipping pitches watchdog. Like, we're just like let's keep each other transparent. You know?
Let's do it.
We can have a sort of like a Republican and Democratic Party relationship where we both just want the exact same things for each other.
Republicans, if that's the power dynamic that we're gonna have going.
We can be the public fucking losers, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent choice. Ippei Mizuhara stealing $40 million from the most important and best baseball player alive. That definitely happened. Okay, let's close it out. You guys remember when the MLBPA had a mutiny in February? Like, do you remember when that happened?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
That is incredibly dumb and just super memory hold in the culture.
Because it lasted about 17 hours.
Yeah.
Right. And as far as I can tell, so for folks who don't remember, or maybe folks who are just tuning in to this episode and didn't listen to our coverage of this back when this actually happened, which actually this was not February. This was April 1st that this story came out from Evan Drellick. The MLBPA, run by Tony Clark, he's the head of the Major League Baseball Players Association. There's started all these stories coming out where a bunch of players, like some former minor leaguers and who had been involved in unionizing the minors, that there was some interest in Harry Marino, who had been prominently involved in Advocates for Minor Leaguers, which was then folded into the Major League Baseball Players Association when they decided to unionize with that union. Over like the power that Bruce Meyer, who had been the negotiator in the last CBA, was seemingly amassing. And as far as I can tell, what happened was a couple guys texted a couple other guys, mainly Jack Flaherty, and they were like, who's this Bruce Meyer guy? Why does he have so much power? And then that just like spread like a middle school rumor to the point where we had a referendum vote on Tony Clark running the union. Like that really happened. Like that is the level of we are one step away from this union like collapsing in on itself that we're working with here. And it turned out that Tony made his case and people got back behind him and they kind of like apologized, and the folks who I don't know were involved in it. I really don't know what the resolution to this was. It ended up bringing people together more, but like the word was mutiny. We had a mutiny in the union on opening day, basically. And that is so dumb. Like, why?
Crazy.
Like, deal with this in November. Deal with this in December.
Yeah.
Do not do this when players are ramping up to play the season. It was unbelievable. I can't believe that happened. And Harry Marino, a former guest of this pod, was going to be the person who was going to run the Major League Baseball Players Association.
But it is odd that like we never. You're right. We never really saw any like follow up on this or what happened. It really was just like Tony Clark stopped the steal and then dropped all charges.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Yeah. I mean, has anyone heard from Harry Marino since? Did they disappear him? Like,
I hope not. Harry, if you're listening, you can still come on the pod if you want.
Send proof of life.
None of them gave interviews about what was going on at this time. There were just whispers about the fact that this was just like text messages were being sent around to the people who were running their individual team as their representatives. And yeah, I can't believe that happened. A full-fledged mutiny in the most powerful sports union.
I can't believe that slipped my mind.
I know. It was like a story that's designed to be memory hold.
Yeah.
Because it's like so few people care about the internal politics of the Players Association, even when there's like a CBA being negotiated. And when there's not, when there's like quote unquote labor peace, like why would anybody care about that? But I think that if Tony Clark had been replaced, this would have been like a huge story and would have had a huge knock-on effect for the next couple of years.
Absolutely.
Look, that all sounds important and everything, but I only have so much space in my brain, and most of it right now is taken up by the Rizzler. So like, who cares about this nerd shit? All right.
Would you like to decide if this podcast episode was boom or doom, Jane? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna give this one 5 booms for sure. Yeah. Oh God.
Okay. Well,
that's one of those jokes where, like, in a year from now, we might be recapping on the next year's dumbest podcast. Like we talked too much about. We mentioned the Rizzler, which has since become like an incredibly tragic story.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Set your watch. That concludes the main feed portion of this. If you would like to listen to 2 extra rounds, which we're going to do momentarily in speed round version, you can find that over on Patreon, patreon.com/tippingpitches, where it will be available if you are a top tier subscriber, and we'll also just make it available for individual purchase as well. So go check that out. Jane, Steve, and Lauren here on the public feed, thank you very much for doing the dumbest things of 2024. It's our
and I'm going to
absolute
talk
favorite.
about the obvious ones on
we're gonna
yes, yeah.
So that's where you have to go for the good stuff.
That's
You
where
want the
that's
red
where all
meat
the things,
piggies? Come over here.
The Patreon side is where all the things you thought we were going to talk about we're going to talk about.
Eat your vegetables over here on the public feed where thousands and thousands of people listen. But we're going to talk about the normal shit where just a small subsection of our audience is.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Everybody listening, you're probably already listening to Batting Around, but please go check out Batting Around. It's
not enough of you are, though,
pods.
you motherfuckers.
Neg their ass.
Yeah.
We need to bring back negativity back into society.
Exactly.
Batting Around, it's a baseball podcast, I guess. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Alex Rodriguez. Tipping pitches.
Tipping pitches.
This is the one that I love the most.
Tipping pitches.
So we'll see you next week. See ya!